So at the time I was using Express, I already knew Express. It was like the go-to when you come to Node, but it was no Laravel. So I was searching. I found Adonis. I found Nest. It wasn't given, to use the term. Then one memorable moment for me was when a tool I wrote was used by Gift Igueno. This was years ago on one of our videos. So she was trying to scaffold something with Chakra UI, and I wrote the Vue CLI Chakra UI plugin.
Because if you focus so much on the numbers, it can be very damaging when like you work so
Yeah,
hard on a tweet and it doesn't perform. You just feel like, oh my god,
yeah,
that was
yeah.
just a
You
waste of
just feel
time.
burnt. You
Yeah, so
just
you
feel
feel
burnt
burnt
out.
out, you
Yeah,
feel bad, and you just feel like the measurement of your happiness is coming from the number of tweets or
nice.
retweets or
Yeah,
likes like that. Yeah, and
and Sails Conf and everything. I am also a supporter of the idea that you can build businesses on the web and you don't need a 9 to 5.
My name is Esther Adebayo, and on my tech journey with Esther, I sit down with tech folks to talk about how they've been able to handle rejections, overcome obstacles in their careers, and really cut through the hype. From coding mistakes to battling rejections to balancing work life and even doing phenomenal things, my guests will share everything raw and real on my tech journey with Esther. New episodes drop every week, so you don't want to miss out.
hi Kelvin, it's good to have you on the podcast today.
Hey Esther, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, how are things going on with you?
Yeah, good, good, good. The usual work, 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 you know.
All right, so it's a tradition here for those that watch the podcast. We always start the podcast with an icebreaker. So, the icebreaker is for you to tell me two truths and a lie about yourself, and I'll guess the lie.
Oh wow, that's fun. I never played that game before. So let's
Okay,
see,
now
two
you get to
truths.
play it.
Yeah, I'm going to make it a little bit hard for you, so even though it's
Ah,
my first time
okay.
playing the game.
I'll get,
Okay,
I'll get
so
the lie. Let's see.
okay, let's see. I've read the Christian Bible 5 times through and through. I've I didn't okay. I do 100 push-ups every day, and I finished school and collected my certificate. I told you it's gonna be hard.
I'm just like, what? So your
I
last
told
one was
you.
you finished school and you collected your certificate.
Yeah.
Hmm. I would have said the first one, but that's a very particular, fact that it sounds true.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've read the Bible 5 times. Like for someone
Yeah.
to name that as a fun fact, like
Okay.
it's very particular. So maybe that's not a
Mm,
lie. Let's go to the second one. The second one
yeah.
was what?
I do 100 push-ups every day.
You do 100 push-ups every day and you finish school. I don't think you strike me as someone that is athletic, but I don't know if you do up to 100 push-ups every day. That's
Okay.
probably the one I'll say that is a lie.
Final answer.
Yeah, final answer.
Okay. Yeah. The answer is the third one. I finished school. I didn't collect my certificate. Sorry.
Really? That's weird. Why? Because you feel like you're
I
not going to
know.
use it.
Yes, I didn't believe in it anymore. And I'd be like, you know what? I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I left
Interesting.
it since what 2017. Yeah, I never did
Wow.
collect.
Wow. What school
Yeah.
did you attend?
So I attended the Polytechnic, Delta State Polytechnic. So I did computer science,
Mm.
OND. Yeah.
Oh, so you just felt like, nah,
Hmm.
this number of years, I just used it to, you know, have time for
Yeah.
myself. I don't need the certificate. Okay.
Yes.
That's interesting to know. Okay, yeah. You tried.
Sure.
I missed
Yeah.
it. Maybe next
Yeah.
time play the game. If I ever have to play the game, I'll make it tough for you, but that's fine. All
Oh,
right.
come
So
on.
on today's episode, we have Kelvin, aka KOO Drumrolls here. So
Mm,
Kelvin, you're the lead maintainer of Sails, and Sails is a web framework for those that do not know. And you're also the founder of Salescasts. It's like
Mm.
an educational platform. So, how did you get started with sales and just contributing to open source?
Yeah, definitely. So after the bout or after the decision of not needing the certificate, I studied for like a year just learning my web dev shops. I don't know if people could remember the new Boston was one of the go-to YouTube channel to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So I
Really?
was, and also, yeah, and also Lynda.com, which is now
Yeah,
LinkedIn
I remember
Learning. Yeah.
lynda.com. I remember Linda.
Yeah, yeah. So we had like just learning and learning. Then I got the shot at my first role, front end engineer at a startup. So after that, I moved on. I to like a contracting role where I was helping build the web service for a Web3 project. So I was given the yeah I was given I was tasked with the problem of finding what tech to use. At the time, I was very proficient with PHP Laravel, but after seeing Node.js, it was a no-brainer. I was like, I think I like JavaScript more than PHP, and having to use this single language on client and server it was very economical, right? Like you don't have to learn too much, just get better at
Yeah,
one.
just
So
and
like
you can
yeah,
do the two, right?
exactly. So it made sense for my business mind as well as my techno mind. And JavaScript speaks to me more. So I was like, what is the level for JavaScript or Node? So at the time I was using Express. I already knew Express. It was like the go-to when you come to Node. But it was no level. So I was searching, I found Adonis, I found Nest. It wasn't given to use the term. So then I discovered sales and it spoke to me. It was like, oh, this is
Yeah.
really cool. Everyone everywhere was saying, "Oh, this is outdated and stuff." But I built something with it, and I was very efficient and productive. I'm like, wow, I think we're missing something here, not to give this tech some more flowers, right? Because it deserves a lot. So I was like, okay, let's find the community. I found the community on Gita. It wasn't very active. I was like, oh well, let me be the change I want to see. So I started writing about it. I pitched Smashing Magazine an article. I pitched Log Rocket an article as well, just trying to like because one problem, I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse. If I like a tech or anything, you can't get me to shut up about it. I was
Go
just shouting,
all the
telling
way,
everyone.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, so I was telling everyone about it. Then the founder, Mike McNeil, or the creator of Sales, noticed me on Twitter. Then we started talking, started um, sending emails and stuff. And that was really how I got started with open source. I was just mostly me writing articles, writing blog posts and all that. Then I made a couple of packages here and there. And also at the time, I was also using Vue. Vue was very efficient
Yeah,
for me
yeah.
as well. Yes, I was always writing. Then so one one memorable moment for me was when a tool I wrote was used by Gift Igueno. This was years ago on one of her videos. So she was trying to scaffold something with Chakra UI, and I wrote the Vue CLI Chakra UI plugin. And she was using it, and I stumbled on the video and I saw it. I said, "Oh wow! Wow! I'm famous." And I was like, so that was
Yeah.
very memorable for me.
Oh
And
well,
she said, like, this really made using Chakra UI very easy. And I'm like, yeah, that was the whole
easy.
idea.
Yeah, I
So
think I
yeah, that's how I
remember
started.
the early parts of Chakra UI, right? That was when you did
Mhm.
that. That was really
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very valuable contribution. And right now, you just wrapped up the Sales Conf Africa. So how did that
Mm-hmm.
go?
Yeah, it was like a dream come true because I've been running Sales Conf online for 3 years, and last year I took the boat, said like, you know what, let's make it physical. What is it going to take to bring this in person and have a conference that I'd like? Because I was a little bit dissatisfied with the quality of conferences in Nigeria, how they've degraded. It's it's more tailored to the beginners, which I get it, but a beginner last year, we are hoping that this year they should be mid-level at least, right? So we had the conferences that are tailored for them for mid-level and advanced developers. There are few or none. So I was like, you know what? Be the change you want to see again. So I started planning it like an indie hacker. So fun fact, I ran the entire conference with no dedicated team. It was just me. It was crazy. Like
Really? So it
everything
was
was
a
very
solo thing. That means you must be
yeah.
very
So
good at planning and organizing, or it
yeah, I
was
think so.
learning on the job.
Yeah, I think so. I
Okay.
so the way I plan is, for example, the one for 2025 plans have already started. I announced the date, so Saturday,
Oh,
and plans have already started. So I like to plan early, and I like to automate things, and just I think you could do more with less if you just start early. Sometimes we hurry because when we had time, we didn't really use it. We left things to the last minute. So I just start early, and, so that if there are any kinks along the way, we iron that out. So yeah, so that was just it. Everybody had a great time. We had over 50 people in attendance. We
that's
had
huge
amazing
for the first
workshops.
physical event.
Yeah, yeah, and that's not even counting people that joined online because it was a hybrid event. So we made sure that if you can't attend, you can watch. So we had over 900 people that were online for both days from different
Mm,
places. We had people from Kenya, from Angola, and the US. It was just, it was a dream come true. We had
so,
Squiddy games where someone get to win ₦1 million by
wow.
testing how good they are with their web dev knowledge. It was fun. It was fun.
Interesting. Interesting. So, how long did you start planning, knowing that it was this very solo thing?
Mhm.
How long ago did you start planning this conference?
So, unlike, let's see. It should be give or take 6 months because it was a spur of the moment. It's like most things I do. So most people that know me, they know I once I want to do something, I don't think about it too much. I just take action. Then we'll figure it out as we go. So when I decided this was going to happen, I just tweeted it, and that was the day plan started. Getting speakers, paying for the event hall, making all the plans and everything. It started on it. So a couple of months, and everything went really, really well for the first one. I thought there would be a lot of chaos because things what all the people involved, I sort of like picked them and they're like, okay, you're doing this and you're doing that. And they just work because they had a lot of time in between for any errors like for us to correct them. So yeah.
Okay, okay, that sounds good. 6 months is
Hmm.
like towards the end of last year, probably.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you mentioned that the state of conferences in like Nigeria, Africa, kind of
Hmm.
degraded. So when you
Yeah.
were with that in mind, when you were creating Sales Conf, what were some of
Hmm.
the strategic things that you did, or you felt like you did differently from the norm?
Yeah, for sure. So one of it was making it very public that we don't cater for newbies in the conference. It's kind of harsh, but so like on the website you see the conference for mid-level and senior web developers, and online I teased last year that if you're a newbie last year, I won't answer any newbie question this year. And it was something that we joked about, but I was kind of serious because I think we need to, sometimes when you need to help people raise their expectations of themselves so that they can come up, right? So last year was me mostly, catering to newbies and trying to see the but like Kent Seedorf would say in his article, like, stop being a junior, right? You need to come up. And that was just it. So I was like, you know what? If you're going to attend this conference, you must be a senior or mid-level developer. So it was controversial. People were like, I don't like newbies anymore, but it has to happen. And I said that every speaker, I do not want an inspirational talk. I want a technical talk. And
What do you mean by an
even
inspirational talk?
yeah, like there's testimonies of which are good. They are
Okay.
good for newbies. How you get a
Like
job
how
and all
they
that.
got started, those kind of things.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We have that too much. It's fine. It has its place, but I think that's the point. We need to be a proper conference where these people are skilled professionals. They're coming to upskill themselves, and we did it. I was like, what will it cost to have a proper tech oriented web development conference? And we had it from day one till the last all the talks were technical. And if you check online, just check the hashtag, you'd see people were loving it. It was like a body of water in the desert, because they were yearning for a proper technical conference and not, inspirational, which has its place, like I'd say. But at a certain point, we need to grow and just, let's have a proper tech conference, and let's see. I want a place where company can pay for their dev team to attend, because they
Can
know when they come
sponsor,
back, they have
yeah.
upskilled. Yeah,
I see.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think for me, I would say it's just having a fine balance between
hmm,
spurring newbies to the next level and also not abandoning those that are already
yeah,
experienced, giving them something to
exactly.
look forward to. So that makes sense. And I think I remember sometime a conference that, concluded last year or so, and there was on Twitter, there's a lot of drama on Twitter. Someone said
Yeah,
something very similar to what you're saying. And another
yeah,
person responded by saying it's based on the call for papers, what people submit, what the speakers submit, they pick from. So for you to get to that point, did you straight up send messages to the speakers that you felt will be able to do justice to those topics, or was there like call for papers, proposal opening for this particular conference?
yeah. So the way I ran it, I did a tweet
Okay.
several times, like to call for people. So there, I can actually remember the tweet, because it caused a little bit of controversy. I was like, if you're a mid-level or senior web developer in Africa and you want to give a talk at Salescom, send me a DM. And a lot of people reached out, and some of them I already knew. So, and even though I know you would send, everyone sent like a notion on a Google Doc, the talk, the abstract, because so I wanted to gauge where your mind is at and whether it's a proper fit. There were some talks I didn't even go through because we couldn't take them all. But yeah, so that was just it. The tweets
A
and it
tweet
a
and
Notion doc and
a
a
Notion
Notion
doc.
or Google Doc. Yeah, that's how I did it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've had so much influence in the open space field, like you're a lead maintainer of sales. So
Mhm.
for anyone that's looking to contribute, this podcast is for all kind of categories. So
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
targeting this question now to newbies especially. I get lots of questions about, okay, I want to contribute to open source. How exactly can I start? So taking sales, for example, as a case study, if one is looking to contribute and also help in that community, how exactly can they start?
Yeah. So my position on contribution to open source has been the
Mm-hmm.
same for like the longest time, and it's this.
Okay.
The way to start is not to contribute, is to be a user,
Okay.
because you wouldn't know what the tech needs if you don't use the tech. And I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying usage in terms of getting an idea to contribute, usage in terms of you're going to ship this thing. So it's actually when you ship something, you will know the pain point. When it's in the lab, your local host, that's the lab. You're not really in the wild where things can go wrong. So I want people who, so if you're going to get started with a tech, you spend at least 6 months, 1 year just using it, right? For example, I'll give you a good case study. The first outside contribution to React was by Sophie, right? And when the way she contributed was first rebuilding something in React and shipping it. She knew how it worked, the drawback and how good it was. She did not say, okay, I want to contribute to React core. She used it. The same thing with Astro. For example, the Queen of Docs, um, Rinsberger, Sarah Rinsberger. When she
Okay.
found Astro, she didn't find it in the capacity to contribute to. She was looking for a tool to build her school's website in. She found it, she used it, she liked it. Then she came back, joined the community, started answering questions because she didn't use it in the lab. She used it in the real world, so she have context. So she was able to help people who were getting started. And then the core team tapped her. You know what? I think you're good at this. Come, let's do docs things together. So that's the best way to start. Use the thing, like use it.
Yeah.
Like, so don't just randomly think of project to contribute to. Work. use project in line with this, with your skill set you're developing, and then after you've run a mile, you come back and see what's missing and make it better.
Yeah, I like that your perspective about not just looking for projects to contribute to, but actually using the tech, because
Mhm.
you can't just contribute to something that you haven't used. So yeah, that makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. And for you working in open source, what has been some of the bottlenecks that you've experienced working in open source and just being a lead maintainer? Because that's a lot of work. So what has been some of the bottlenecks?
Yeah, I'm very pragmatic with my open source because
Yeah,
the way I'd like to so like the way I like to handle it is, um first of all, open source is a gift, and we're all trying to make this gift we've been given better. So for my case, sales was gifted to us by Mike McNeil. So I try to. It's a balancing act, even. So you have to look at issues. You have to also think about the future, like what does the project need? Because there's a lot of intricacies to make an open source project. It's not just the tech; it's also the community, right? So just the way like app app developers think about UX, we tech developers think about DX a lot, right? So, and you have to think, so DX is not just in how they use the tech, is how they also see the tech, all right? So it's a balancing act from issues, from angry users who have their issues open so long, how it also grows your communication, how to really, diffuse a situation. Yeah, it's been fun. It's been challenging, but it's really interesting. So my rule of thumb is, at the, every day, or we try to make this thing better. We fix issues. We plot out plans for the future. Like I announced over maybe like a dozen new things that is coming to Salesland in my talk at Sails Conf, and some of them are already on the way. Others are R&D. So all this, the whole central theme is to make the lives of the users better, because open source tech is like a product. So when you think of it like a
yeah,
product, you know that the users of the tech, both the people contributing to it and people using it in their jobs, they are users, even though they're not paying you outright money for it, but they are your users as well. So you have to cater for their needs. You have to like approach it as a product. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And building, like what you said, building a strong community around the open source
Mm-hmm.
is one of the core. Because if the community is dead, it's almost like
Yeah.
it's hard to really identify the people that use it, because the people that use it
Mm-hmm.
are the community as well. Okay. So, Kelvin, I was going to ask, in about 2 years, you've grown your Twitter following from, I think, about less than 1,000 to right now almost 20,000. And that's a
Mm-hmm.
huge achievement. So, what are some practical ways that you've learned to build an audience online?
Yeah. So I'm still learning though, because the goal is to get to 93,000, and I've sort of like, after going so.
93,000.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a
I just picked.
particular number. Why?
I don't even. I just picked it randomly, right? It's like most numbers, even
Okay.
pricing are random. So I just picked a number. So for Twitter is 93,000. For YouTube is 200K. At least that one's exact.
Awesome.
So I don't know.
Okay.
I just picked 93. Maybe because three is in there and three is my favorite number. So the whole how I grew so fast was just studying. Like I did a lot of study. So, and I was very intentional about it. I was like, well, how do people really grow in here? So I studied a lot of people. I watched a lot of YouTube videos. Saw both good and bad advice. Saw growth hacks that I didn't like, and I was like, then I stumbled on something that actually, it was in retrospect. I was like, oh, this is part of like the strategy, which is, when I was actively learning how to code professionally, I think 2018, I did this 100 days of code. So every day I actually finished the challenge. Then I was like, let me check out the hashtag. I checked it out. I saw some people's project. And what I did was, just give real comment and real feedback. And I was just commenting. So I did that I wasn't. It wasn't a strategy. I just did it. Let's encourage these people that are doing this challenge. Then I woke up the next day and I got a sizable amount of following. I was like, is this a fluke? What's going on? Okay, let's do it again. Then I did it, and it was there. So it was like when you leave, intentional comments, hurtful comments on people's posts, they'd like it, they'll check you out, and if they like what they see, they'll follow. Then I was like,
Yeah.
wow, okay, this was fun. So I did that, and while I was doing that, I was posting consistently. I was just genuinely be trying to be helpful, trying to like find my voice and just tweet out web dev techniques, JavaScript thoughts, code challenges. So we're just tweeting every day. In fact, I think on Typefully I have like 400 plus days of non-stop tweeting, which is not
Mhm.
healthy if you're always on the app, but I automated the thing. So I was like back then I was tweeting. I had a schedule of 6 times in a day, and it was just there tweeting, you know commenting and all. So yeah, and a bunch of other things. Attended conferences as well. I did a couple of what like I did it like so I gave some books away too, like did some challenges. So they were just permutations of several things. But what stand out is the consistency of always showing up, even when my tweets have like one like there was this particular thread I used to do where I would explain concepts and also show video of explaining the concept. It didn't do well at all, and it took a lot of work. So that was a learning moment. I was like, okay, cool. This probably it
Not
it
working.
doesn't work. Yeah, it doesn't work. So let's change. So yeah, I was just like doing that, and sometimes folks with larger following would mention me for some reason, and that will also get some eyeballs my way, and some people would like it, and they would. And yeah, spaces also helps too. If I get to come
Okay.
on a space
Spaces.
and
Okay.
I speak and they like what they hear, they'll follow. So yeah, but right now it's being overused, and you could just smell when someone is just trying to do stuff for the following, and it feels very weird. So I promised myself that I'm going to try to, remain original. There's so much you could do, and just ask some very weird questions on that's not needed. Like, why do you like light theme versus dark theme? People always engage that stuff, but it's not just my style. I like to keep it original and just, the growth will come, because if you focus too much on the numbers, you probably will lose yourself and just get sucked into the system of looking for engagements. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with the fact that on Twitter it's important to be authentic. With what you've also said, the engagement. When you engage on
Yeah.
Twitter, the followers will come. But one thing that I know that I try to stay true to is just being authentic, which is what you said.
Mhm.
Because if you focus so much on the numbers, it can be very damaging when like you work so
Yeah.
hard on a tweet and it doesn't perform. You just feel like, oh my God,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
just a
You
waste of
just feel
time.
burnt. You
Yeah, so
just
you
feel
feel
burnt out.
burnt out,
Yeah.
you feel bad, and you just feel like the measurement of your happiness is coming from the number of tweets or,
Likes.
retweets or
Yeah.
likes like that. Yeah, and for
Yeah.
someone that grew like very fast within that period, did you maybe experience some level of overwhelm at any point with number of
Mm.
tweets going out, number of people mentioning you? Did you experience overwhelm at any point?
No, not really, because I I so I try to anticipate best and worst case scenarios every time. So my favorite game is a game of chess, and for you to be really good at the game, you can't be thinking one move at a time. You have to take three, four, five moves. So I try to like think, okay, what's the outcome of all this? So before, like I was telling a friend of mine when I was lesser than 1,000 following, I was like, I don't want to get big and now start being hard to reach. Even today, I still reply to DMs because it was intentional. I knew it was going to get
Yeah.
to a point where I'm going to get big, but it wasn't overwhelming because first of all, I don't have notifications on at all.
Oh,
Never. I
really?
don't.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I never receive
That's
notifications.
probably a very good
Yeah.
setting to
Mm.
tweak on my Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah, so because like I don't like things telling me to come. I go on my own time. So that's just how I do it. So there's no notification. Only when I want to check, I check. If I don't check, it's all there. And few things are important. So some will be like, oh, what if there's an emergency? Not really. You really have a handful of emergency that could ever happen that is actually an
Chances of
emergency and not just
emergencies are
yeah,
very
it's very
slim.
exactly. So I'll get to it when I get to it. So that's it. I always check and see like, okay, oh, there's a message here, there's notification. I'll check and I try to always reply to them. So and yeah, I'm very calm in my mind in the sense that I'm hardly overwhelmed. I'm rarely overwhelmed. I don't even know. I think I need to understand why because most people tell me that you should be overwhelmed with everything, but I'm not. I still find time to watch series of movies. In fact, right now I'm looking for a way to watch Prison Break because I miss
Uh, you
Michael
miss watching
Scofield's
it.
mind, yeah, on how he plans. So I have the time to do all that and I have the time to do every other thing. And it just calm because, for example, I have tweets scheduled in Typefully. So it handles the tweet. I don't even think about tweeting except with thought come and I just do that. And yeah,
Yeah, I
so
think
yeah,
the system you have set up is also one of the things that are very helpful because
yeah,
as little as it may seem, the fact that you don't have notifications turned on and you also use
yeah,
Typefully to schedule your tweets. So it's not at that instance. It's like what people are saying are things you've already loaded up and
yep, yeah,
it's really helpful. I think it helps your mind to just also focus on something. So people are saying one thing,
mhm,
but that's not even where your mind is. Your mind is far away from what they're saying. Yeah.
yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, still on the Twitter, on
Hmm.
your bio you have indie hacking my way to $1.2 million a year, and
Yeah,
that's such an inspiring goal. So, what was the
mhm.
motivation for that?
Yeah. So the thing is, so apart from doing programming and sales conf and everything, I am also a supporter of the idea that you can build businesses on the web and you don't need a 9 to 5 because basic economics is that when everyone is looking at one spot, there's going to be either realistic or assumed saturations. So right now, people coming into tech, they want to just go get it 9 to 5, right? Nothing is bad. I also had a 9 to 5, but that shouldn't be your end or be all. Because if everyone is chasing a particular thing, that means there's going to be little of it to go around. And that's where you get the burnout. Oh, they lied to us that you're going to finish a boot camp in 6 months and you get a job and you're making like $2,500 a month. You think it's a lie, but it's not really just that the there are too much people chasing few opportunities. But if we can harness the internet, the web we've been given, and try to be a businessman, and that was the whole idea of indie hacking. Everything we enjoy today, we actually founded by indie hackers. For example, like when Jack Dorsey founded Twitter, it was just him just hacking away. Then he gave us
Yeah.
Twitter. The same thing with Bill Gates, them Steve Jobs, them Jeff Bezos. They just wanted to create. So I want to encourage people to do that. And of course, you have to walk your talk. So I can't be in the cushion of a 9 to 5 and tell people to follow another route. So I was like, I have to be really successful at this in order to know enough because I like to speak from experience and not, hearsay. I want to like, okay, I've done this. These are my learnings, and this is how I could tell you like you can also learn to do it yourself. Right. So the indie hacking my way to 1.2 is all these things I'm doing. How can I make them earn me $1.2 million every year? Because I've seen it's possible. I know a lot of people that do like Justin Welsh. I think, yeah, he also does that amount. Even the guy from Design Joy, he also does that amount, or even I think 3 million, 5 billion. So I know it's possible, and so that's my personal challenge. And
Yeah,
hopefully we get
definitely.
there and surpass it. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully. I definitely know it's possible. And for me as well, I share that same mindset of not allowing your 9 to 5 be your all. Like
Mm-hmm.
your 9 to 5 is just everything and all there is to you. It's important that
Yeah.
even as developers, as engineers, we try to build something and also like we're in high demand aside a job,
Yeah,
there's something you can also do on the side, create
yeah,
SaaS
for sure.
products that can also earn you money. So yeah, it's good to see that you're working the work, like you say. And
Yeah,
I genuinely admire your proactiveness. And I saw that you very recently launched a product, Hackfish. So I
yeah,
would like you to also speak on that, share more about Hackfish and what it is.
yeah, for sure. So, Hackfish was inspired by a couple of things. How I've worked since, even when I was having 9 to 5, I was also doing. I had a business at the side, and I was also having like contractors, and even myself, I was writing a ton of technical articles. I had to send a lot of invoices and all. So when I saw, so the creator of Gumroad, Sahil, he launched something called Flexile. So it's like this flexible way to work, which I believe in, which is also is why I launched Hackfish, where you don't have to have a full-time employee for you to have or run a business. You could always get contractors and just pay them by value or by project. That's what I've been doing for like my designers and stuff. So when I tried to sign up for Flexal, I couldn't get in because it was only US. It was US only. I went, you know what? I think I can build something like this. I need it to work because I like building the things I need. And then I say, what's the most what is the quickest way to start? To get something out there, and that was invoicing. So I was like, let's create Hackfish invoice because Hackfish is going to be like this OS or the work OS for today's makers. So if you're a contractor, you're a creator, you have to send invoices and other things you have to do. So the business part of doing your creation, Hackfish should be able to take care of it, starting with invoice. So before, if you asked me to show you where the invoices I've sent, I'll be like, okay, what up, Emilia? Maybe take popcorn or something because this might take a moment. I have to go check Google, Gmail, to type in invoice, and it's just scattered because the namings and everything. So there's no way to see all the invoices. And if you're being audited or you have accounting, it's just a nightmare. So
Freelance, yeah.
so yeah. So Hackfish, now the workflow is you can have clients in there. So you have the names of your clients. So when you want to send them an invoice, just click create invoice. You'd see a pop-up of all your clients. You click them, the details fill up. Also yours, like the first time you add your professional address, because I believe you should operate as an entity, not just yourself. So even though you don't, you could put in your name there, but you should have an entity. So you could put in your line items, and you could send the invoice directly from Hackfish. You don't have to go open your email
Yeah.
app or
Okay.
client to do stuff. And once you click send, it's going to generate the PDF because people like the PDF. So you're going to attach it, generate the PDF, attach it, and send the email to your client. And you could download it anytime. There's a lot of plans coming up like scheduling, which I like scheduling a lot. So let's say I have a client that so that I don't forget, I could just schedule it today and I'm going to send the invoice like maybe on Friday. Hackfish will just set the schedule and send it. I don't have to open it. So automation is a big part of what Hackfish will do because I like automations. It just make me, multiply myself. So yeah, that's it.
That's interesting. It's definitely very useful for, like you said, creators, makers,
Mm-hmm.
freelancers. So if you're out there, check out Hackfish. What would you say inspires you to do your best work? What inspires you or motivates you to always put in, 10 over 10 every single time?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for me, I just so I'm competing with myself in the sense that I want to do my best work. And I always think that whatever I've done, what I'm going to do is just scratching the surface. And, as an artist, when you create your work and you sign it, you're proud that you have your name on that work signed. So whenever I'm doing anything, I want it to be very best because it has my digital signature that Kelvin did this. So it has to be good. It has to be the best. And I have a lot of great people to look up to. So people I read about, like for example, I read the book Mastery. That book changed my life. It's one of the reasons why I started
Which
TKYT.
book? What book?
Mastery by Robert Greene. I've read it three
Okay.
times. It's a big book, but you get to see stories of masters, and you see how they are so involved, engrossed in the process. For example, I think there was it I don't know, there was one of this famous, is it Isaac Newton or Einstein, where he was working, he was so engrossed in the work, his wife served him dinner. He didn't notice. It got cold. She took it away. He came back to an empty dining table and was like, seems I've already eaten. He went back. He went back to continue his work. So the whole idea is that there's this obsession over quality and making sure you do your best work. All right. So I'm always obsessed with, okay, what is the whatever I've done before, I want to outdo it. I want to do it better, and I want to be better than my past self. So I keep
Self, yeah.
raising the bar. Yeah, I'm keep raising the bar, and I always say I'm still at 1% because there's still so much more to do. Right. And just do your best work so that you are proud to see, like, you signed it digitally, even if you don't really sign it physically. So yeah.
Do your best work. Okay, that's actually a very, very good advice. So always focus on the quality of the work you do as opposed
Yeah.
to just, the quantity, trying to put so much out there.
Yeah.
It's important to
Hmm.
have quality work. All right. So when you're not coding, I know you mentioned that you watch series. So what else do you do for fun?
Yeah, I do a couple. So first of all, I haven't been able to swim in any weekend since like a couple of weeks for Salescom, but I like swimming on the weekend because I'm a self-taught swimmer. I learned from
You're a
YouTube.
self-taught swimmer.
Yeah, I learned from
Wow.
YouTube.
That's yeah, the
It-
first person I'm hearing
yeah,
say
yeah.
that.
Yeah, it was interesting, but it was something I've always wanted to learn, but I was always
Okay.
so scared. So I approached it like I'd approach anything. I learned both the pros and cons, how to do it wrongly,
Mm,
so I don't do the wrong things. So yeah, it was really good. So I swim most weekends, and I
okay.
also play the piano. And right now I'm taking it more like a business again instead of a hobby. I've been playing the piano for like a decade. But last year, the ending of the year, I heard Interstellar by Hans Zimmer. So Hans Zimmer is a famous composer. So if you've
Piano
seen
too. Oh,
Inception, yeah. So
yeah.
if you've
He
seen
makes
Inception or
okay.
Interstellar, the movie,
Yeah, I've seen
it
Inception.
or if yeah, exactly. So the film score was made by Hans Zimmer. So when I heard the cornfield chase on Interstellar, I was charmed. I was listening to it obsessively, and I think no, this is the direction I want to take my music, like, because music is like coding, right? So I want to be able to create film scores. So yeah, so that I just did. So I play the piano. I read a ton of books. I think I have over 200 plus books, and I probably have read like 80% of them all through my lifetime. I read every day. I like books so
What's
much. Yeah.
what's 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 let me say two. What are two books? I know you've mentioned Mastery, but two other
Mhm.
books that you recommend to people that have really
Yeah.
changed your life.
Yeah. So how to win friends and influence people. I read it twice in a day or so. It's a very small book by Carnegie. I think it's yeah, Dale Carnegie. Also, I might miss the author. Yeah,
Let
how
me
to win
see.
friends and influence
How
people.
to
It
make
really
friends and
helps.
influence people. Okay.
Yeah, in terms of communication, superb book.
Yeah, and then Carnegie.
Also, yeah. So the other book, The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene. It's more on persuasion, like how to persuade people. It's like, so he's the same author of Mastery. So there's a particular way he writes. He like to tell stories, like real stories by real people that have harnessed the thing he's talking about. So that book is really, really good. They are all big books, except the How to Win Friends and Influence People. Also, if you're up to it, you should read In Pursuit of Purpose or Pursuit of Purpose by Miles Monroe. It was the first book that made me think about purpose, like why you here, like Like, yeah, it's just an interesting book. So Pursuit of Purpose is good too. And a lot. I am actually looking at 3 books right now. The other way, Mind is the Master by James Allen. So James Allen understands the mind so much. So his wife did this compilation of all his work. So I just, instead of buying single books, I just bought the entire copy.
Everything.
And
That
it's
must be a
just,
very
yeah.
big book.
Oh, it is a chunky boy. It's very big. So that one, you don't read it at a stretch. You just,
You
read a
take
chapter.
breaks,
Yeah.
you let it
Yeah.
simmer in, and then you
Hmm.
continue.
Yeah.
All
It's
right.
all amazing book. Yeah.
Yeah. Kelvin, are you working on any exciting projects? I know you said Sales Conf is coming in 2025, but outside of
Hmm.
Sales Conf, any other thing you're in the hacking, projects you're working on that you like to share?
Yeah, so this one is a little bit of a public secret. So people know it, but they don't know what it is by design. I'm going to announce it for the first time July 3rd. I call it Project 50. It's going to be my the other bets I'm doing, and I have partners. So Century is a partner on this project. Render is
Mm,
also a partner, and
interesting.
onboard based. So they are partnering to subsidize whatever I'm building so that it's more available to
Interesting.
everyone else. So they are partnering by giving money. So I've already made money even before the
Before
project
it's
is
out.
launched. Yeah.
Okay,
So
awesome.
so
I'll look
yeah.
forward to it. You said July 3rd.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's your birthday, right?
Yes, it is. Yes. Very cheesy.
Okay. Because I was just like July 3rd is so
Yeah.
familiar. Then I remember I saw it on your Twitter bio. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Look forward to
Mhm.
it. All right, Kelvin, it has been really amazing chatting with you, hearing everything, your mind, and
Mhm.
just listening to you narrate your story and how you've done so well in the community. So thank you for coming, and look forward to other things that you'll be doing.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, Nesta. This was amazing chatting with you. Thank you.
Yeah, same here. It was amazing. All right. Thank you everyone for joining us, and I'll see you in another one. Bye.